皆さんおはようございます。Thank you for joining me. This is the article of the day for October 15th, 2025. 2025年10月15日の今日の記事でございます。So for our title today, we have 今年日本へ旅行に来た外国人3000万人以上。So, 今年 this year, 日本へ to Japan 旅行に来た外国人。So, 旅行に来た this is the verb 来る in the past tense goes to 来た and 旅行に来た so those who have come for travel. So, 旅行に来た外国人 would be foreigners who have come to Japan for travel. And then 3000万人以上. So, 以上 means or more when you give a number or a statistic. So, 3000万人以上. So, if we were to break this down, we're going to do this in the grammar section as well. A man is 10,000. So, this man would be 10,000. This goes to 100,000. This goes to million. And this would be 30 million. So, the number of foreigners that came to Japan this year for travel is over 3000万, which is 30 million. So, it's exceeded 30 million foreigners that came to Japan for travel. 3000万人以上. Okay, so here is our vocab from the article. We have 旅行, travel, 外国人, foreigner, 増える, to increase. I feel like this word is showing up in every article recently. 増える, to increase. 日本政府観光客, or 観光局, sorry. 観光客 would be a tourist. This is not a tourist, but a 観光局, an organization. So the 日本政府観光局 is the Japan National Tourism Organization. And we have 先月 is last month. 100万 is 1 million. 1000万 is 10 million. And 兆 is trillion or 1 trillion. Okay, so for our grammar point today, I figured we'd go over some larger Japanese numbers. Most Japanese learners, they know up to about 10,000. But here, in this article, we're going to go over some really big numbers. So I figured we'd review a little bit of that and go over how we use these big numbers. So we've got 10, which is 10, 100, which is 100, 1000, which is 1,000. And then if we want to go for man, we have to say 1,000. So up to 1,000, we don't have to say 1,000, we just say 1,000. But here for man, you need to say 1,000. So that's 10,000. And then from here on out, every 4 digits, we're going to reset. So a man is a 10,000. And then the next one would be 10 10,000s. You can kind of think of it like how in English we put the commas every 3 digits and it resets and we say, oh, 3,000 and then 30,000, 300,000. And then we go to the millions place and we start over at 1 million. And then we go 10 million. Japanese does that, but it's every 4 digits. So it'll always go 10, 100, 1000, man. And then we start talking about how many mans there are. So 10 man, which would be 10 man, 10 10,000s, which is 100,000. Then we've got 100 man, which is 1 million. 1000 man is 10 million. And then now we've gone 4 digits here. So we are going to reset and we have 1,000,000. So 1,000,000 is 100 million. And then we go 10,000,000, 100,000,000, 10,000,000. And then this is as far as we're going to go today, which is 1兆. So 1兆is 1 trillion. So in your everyday life, you're probably not going to go much further than this. But for 兆, we do the same thing for another 4 digits. So that would be 1兆、10兆、100兆、1000兆. If you want to go 4 more digits later. But we're going to end at 1兆 here, which is 1 trillion. And this number does appear in the article. So 1兆.
日本へ旅行に来る外国人が増えています。日本政府観光局によると、先月だけで300万人以上の外国人が日本へ旅行に来ました。中国からの人が一番多くて、次が韓国からの人でした。1月から9月までで3000万人以上が日本へ来ました。今までの年で一番早く3000万人以上になりました。国によると、旅行に来た外国人は、今年7月からの3ヶ月にお金を2兆円以上使いました。使ったお金も7月からの3ヶ月では一番多くなりました。
Okay, let's get right into our article.
日本へ旅行に来る外国人が増えています。
Okay, so 日本へ旅行に来る外国人. So all of this is modifying our noun here, 外国人. So what kind of foreigners are we dealing with? 日本へ旅行に来る外国人. So foreigners that come to Japan for travel. So 日本へ to Japan 旅行に for the purpose of travel 来る to come. 外国人が増えています. So 増える is to increase. So the number of foreigners that come to Japan for travel is increasing. This is in the ている form, ています form. So it's continuing to increase. This is ongoing right now.
日本政府観光局によると、先月だけで300万人以上の外国人が日本へ旅行に来ました。
Okay. 日本政府観光局によると So we have によると This means according to. So according to the Japanese National Tourism Organization, if I remember correctly. It was in the vocab for this article, but I believe that's what it is. Japan National Tourism Organization. 先月だけで So 先月 last month だけで only in last month. So だけ is only, and that day tells us what state we're in here. So only last month 300万人以上 So 300万人 as we kind of went over in the title. 1万 is 10,000. 10万 would be 100,000. And this is 100万. So this is million. So only last month, 3 million, and then 以上. So more than 3 million, and more than 3 million what? We are connecting that number to 外国人. So 300万人以上の外国人. Over 300, or sorry, 3 million foreigners が日本へ旅行に来ました. So came to Japan for travel or tourism just last month. So over 3 million foreigners came to Japan for travel just last month.
中国からの人が一番多くて、次が韓国からの人でした。
Okay. So 中国からの人. So if we want to connect から to another noun, we can use both of these here. からの. So 中国 being China. 中国からの人 is people who are from China. So 中国からの人が一番多くて. So 一番 being the most, and that connected with 多い in the te form. 多い being a lot, many. and then that changing to 多くて. So, 一番多くて would be the most. So the most were people from China. 次が, so the next, we had the most coming from China. And then after that, the next would be 韓国からの人でした. Were people from 韓国, which is South Korea. So a large number of Chinese people and South Koreans in particular. But either way, just a lot of foreigners.
1月から9月までで3000万人以上が日本へ来ました。
Okay, so 1月から9月までで. So from 1月, which is the first month, so January, to 9月まで, which is September. And then that day tells us that state. So we're in that state of January to September. And then 3000万人以上. So we had 300万人 in the previous paragraph. Now we have 3000万人. So 3000万人 would be 30 million. So 30 million people, more than 30 million people が日本へ来ました. Came to Japan. So from January to September, over 30 million people came to Japan.
今までの年で一番早く3000万人以上になりました。
Okay, so 今までの年で. So 今まで up to now. Then we're connecting that to another noun using の. So 今までの年で. In the years up till now, 今までの年で一番早く. So 一番 once again the most. Then we have 早い being used as an adverb here. So we change it to 早く, which is something to happen early or quickly. So 一番早く3000万人以上になりました. So this case of, or this situation of having 30 million people visit Japan happened the quickest this year. So 一番早く when compared to all years up to this point. So 今までの年で一番早く3000万人以上になりました. So になる here became, so that number became 30 million quicker than it ever has in previous years. Would be more of a literal translation of that sentence.
国によると、旅行に来た外国人は、今年7月からの3ヶ月にお金を2兆円以上使いました。
Okay. 国によると. So 国 being the country or probably the government here. So according to the government, according to Japan, 旅行に来た外国人は. So once again, we have 外国人. What kind of 外国人? 旅行に来た. Those who have come for travel or tourism. 旅行に来た外国人は今年7月からの3ヶ月に. So 今年7月から. So from July of this year, 今年 being this year, 今年4月からの3ヶ月に. So here we don't have 3月, which would be March. We have 3ヶ月, which is a period of 3 months. So this year starting, a period of 3 months starting in July of this year, お金を2兆円以上使いました. So お金 being money, and then the o marks it as our object for the verb 使う, to use. So お金を2兆円以上. So 兆 being trillion. So 2 trillion yen, 2兆円以上. 以上 making that more than 2 trillion yen 使いました. So putting that all together, according to the government of Japan, or the country, foreigners who came to Japan for travel have spent 使いました over 2 trillion yen in just the 3 months from July of this year. So starting in July of this year, counting a 3-month period, they spent 2 trillion yen, or more than 2 trillion yen.
使ったお金も7月からの3ヶ月では一番多くなりました。
Okay, so here we have 使ったお金も. So this mo says also the money that was used 使ったお金も7月からの3ヶ月では. So in those 3 months starting from July 一番多くなりました. So 一番多い has been the most. And then this kunaru here, it turned into being the most. We have that state change when we use naru. So whenever you see naru, you have something changing from one thing to another. So here, 一番多くなる. It became the most. So these 3 months starting in July until now, in that 3 months, the most money that has ever been spent by tourists in Japan, foreign tourists in Japan, has been spent. So, yes, Japan is in a very interesting situation right now with its tourism. Like, I'm trying to remember how much of its GDP. I think they said it was like 23% of all of its GDP is just from tourism. So, that causes a lot of domestic problems, though, with a lot of people being very angry about how the people in Japan are being treated when compared to tourists. So it is a necessary but kind of controversial take that Japan is so invested in their tourism, and a lot of Japanese are not happy about what is going on in their country, where it seems like foreigners are getting better deals and taking advantage of the weak yen, and Japanese people are kind of being left behind. And the government it seems like at times the government is prioritizing foreigners. It might seem like that. That's not always the case, but it might seem like they're prioritizing foreigners over their own citizens because of how much effort and money is being spent on tourism. And there's a big over-tourism problem. So who knows what the new prime minister will do about that, which should be happening in the next week or so. So we'll be following that and hopefully have some more articles about the situation going on in Japan. But thank you so much for being here. Hopefully you enjoyed this article. If you did, please like and subscribe and hit that bell so you're notified every day. We do have daily, weekday videos of these articles. And as long as it's not a Japanese holiday, you can guarantee there will be one per day. So make sure you press that bell so you're notified so you can keep up your Japanese study every day. And we also do weekly streams, and I also do tutoring. So if you're interested in that, check out my bio, and I hopefully will also see you at some of those streams. So thank you so much for being here. ありがとうございました. And I will plan on seeing you tomorrow. また明日.